In this episode of Man vs. Marriage, it's Marriages We Admire with John and Susy.
The podcast.
How good do you want your life to be?
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible.
This is Man vs. Marriage.
The podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Man vs. Marriage. It is I, the cute diggity dog, in the Nelson family studio with my lovely wife, Jeannie.
Hello.
John and Susy.
Welcome.
What's up, everybody?
What's
Thank
up?
you for having us. This is nice.
It is, thanks for opening up your home and being a part of this experiment. And we are just very, very happy to have you on the show. We have an exciting story for you guys today. Mr. Costco John, his wife Susy, and the Moran family, and kind of a unique way that we met and somehow became fast friends. And it's been, I think, December the 4th. December the 3rd is the first day we met, and now we're in the new year of January the 2nd. So
Day shy of a month. Wow, that's awesome.
our 1 month friend anniversary is coming up here. So you know what I'll do is our audience gets to listen to me talk a lot. So John, Susy, I'll let you have the microphone first, but John, maybe you can tell your version of how we met, and then we'll talk about marriage.
Nice.
All right. Well, like I said, thank you for having us here. I think I'm more nervous than I thought I would be.
What?
It's just so exciting being in the presence of the Moran family. Wow. I think it's been how many days since we've known them?
Well, he said
Less
the
than a month,
third.
right?
Yeah,
So
a day shy of a whole month.
Yeah.
I
I'd
said
say, what do
So-
we got? One more day? Yeah, one
Yeah.
day.
wow,
So
so we
A
are
day
going to be a
shy.
month.
Yeah.
that's
Man,
what he
you better
said.
do something big for this.
This friendship
Uh-uh.
kind of turned out the way we did. Like, we bumped into each other, and then, like, we've been together every day since, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same scenario.
I think maybe
Hey,
that's
I'm
what
not
I was
sharing.
thinking. How many days have we not been away from them ever since? So I think we've broken all the rules with them. So I'm pulling up to Costco in what we call the Black Mamba, which is our 15 passenger.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I'm riding solo on that, or if not, I have like a child or two with me.
Oh my goodness.
And I think I was supposed to head out to, what was it?
Where were you going?
I know you were getting
First-
propane. I know that.
Right.
Oh,
there
you
you go.
headed to Goodwill.
That's right,
To
that's
get rid
right.
of a whole bunch of stuff.
No, not Goodwill, Salvation Army.
Oh.
Right, so that's where I was heading out. But then something told me, hey, let me go ahead and turn in here. Let me get these propane tanks filled up. And I figured, hey, let me park somewhere closer to the propane area.
Where
And
you never parked before.
yeah, that's
or
what
usually.
happened.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here opening the back doors, and I'm getting out and see these people walking up. And they're looking at me all kinds of strange. And I'm like, over you go. But then the dude ends up being really nice, says hello and reaches out. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? He says, hey, man, nice van you got going. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, But I think he was setting me up for a punchline or something on that.
Yep, admittedly so.
Yeah. But, I mean, so I'm obviously I'm black. Is it all right to say that?
Oh my gosh.
So I'm pulling stuff out of the back of the van, and they look at me, and behold, I find out later that they have the same darn van. So I need to know what you all were thinking. That's my main thing.
Yeah. Jeannie can fill you in on that part.
I didn't see the stickers on my van because I have a very distinct vehicle. And I looked up and I was like, I know that is not somebody getting in my car. And he looked up and he was like, no, babe, that's not our car. Ours is back there. We just couldn't see it because Mamba was blocking mine.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, we're good. And then he set you up for the joke because we have a van just like it. And yeah, it took me a second, but I'm just like that with my car. It doesn't matter if you're black or not. If you're near my vehicle, it is very simple. Why are you touching my car?
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't know if it's obvious because that you're black because you have a black van, because I have a black van and I'm not black. So
Was this
What's-
nighttime?
What's the name of
No.
your van?
what did we decide
Black
on?
Lightning.
Yeah, black. I told her we should switch it to Black Dynamite because Black Dynamite's cool.
Oh,
Just
okay.
Dynamite comes in small packages, though. That van is anything but small.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a reference to the movie. It's like a kung fu movie.
Okay.
that
Well,
nobody's seen.
ever since then.
Exactly.
I know me and Josh have seen it, so there's at least 2 people. All right, so we
Yeah.
met. So we met in the Costco parking lot, and Jeannie never parks on that side. And
Wow.
really, I wasn't really supposed
Who
to be there,
Yeah.
because generally during the week we don't go to Costco, but we had something we had to get done. So
And I don't go to Costco without you. I refuse.
Ooh.
and we were actually supposed to be there what I thought was a different time. So we were like in between times when we were supposed to be there. And I'm walking out and see this dude standing in the back of the van, and I almost didn't say anything, but it was just too good to, I couldn't pass it up to say, you know, it's like if somebody's wearing the same shirt you're wearing, it's like, that's a great shirt. It looks great on you.
Exactly.
So it's like great van, and, you know,
Yeah.
kind man, you know, he's
Yeah.
like, oh, thanks. And, you know, so it's like, well, I was telling you because I have one just like it
Yeah.
right over there.
You know, I felt kind of bad because when you did ask me, after actually telling me how many children you had, you're like, well, how many kids do you have? You know, since you've got this black van, and I kind of gulped and felt really ashamed to say, 4.
Why you got this big old vehicle then?
You know, so I was blown away. Heard how many kids you had. Got to meet one that day. And that was
Sophia the first.
The first.
Yeah. Got to meet the first one, which was Sophia the first. And I think it was the next day that I had no idea how I convinced y'all to let me in your house. You know,
We don't either. The kids are still trying to figure that out.
you know?
Totally out of character, huh?
Yeah.
Well, not for me, but for Jeannie.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
so you called the next day. You told me to text you. Never told me that your name was John directly, but you're like, you know, we're the Nelsons, and you said in there you're John. So
Oh, okay.
I was getting your phone number, saying, hey, you're John Nelson. You're all, how do you know my name is John? I was like, yeah, you said it.
Yeah.
But I sent you that. I think I sent you the podcast, and you listened to an episode
Yeah.
of the podcast, and then the next day you called,
Yeah.
and we were headed to the parade.
That's what it was.
You were going to the parade too, oddly enough.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then-
yeah.
Go ahead if you had something else. Go ahead.
No, I think it was my wife's idea to go to the parade.
Yeah, he wouldn't want to go to the parade if it was just my idea. He's like, wait, I think the Morans are going to be there too. Yeah, let's go. I was like, wow, okay.
Yes,
Only because
that's
they're
true.
going to be there, right? But fine, I want to go anyways, so yes.
I love friendships, so any opportunity that I get to spend some time with some friends here,
Good
I'm
old
gonna.
people.
Yeah, and
Because
yeah.
who does that nowadays? We're usually the
Yeah,
ones that are
that's so true.
constantly like waving or saying hi to people, and then people are just like covering their face, like
6 feet.
don't talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, why are they talking to me? So
Try
yeah.
to give somebody our number or something. They're, oh well, you know.
How about
oh,
we
shit.
don't? No.
Yeah, pretty much so. It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that day, you know, that Saturday, Jeannie and I, we were gone for Thanksgiving, and we were doing our Thanksgiving the next, you know, that Saturday, the 4th. But the Alabama game wasn't going to be on. But, you know, I just kind of opened the invitation and said, hey, because my family was supposed to show up, and then come to find out, you know, the day before, they're like, no, we're not coming.
Oh, snap.
So it was kind of too late at that point, and we have a lot of people in our family, so the food would have been consumed either way. But it just worked out.
I just don't think John was quite expecting what he got. When we said, come watch the game, we should have prefaced with, Quincy will not be talking to anybody. He will be watching the game.
I talked to everybody every single touchdown.
Okay.
I came to you and gave you high fives.
And these 6 people sat at the table like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
Why is the guy screaming at the TV?
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I thought
And
white people
everybody's
couldn't
just
dance.
shy.
But
Everybody's
hey,
just
John
shy.
got to meet all the kids.
Oh yeah, I got to spend time with everybody.
Yeah.
And I think by talking to us, he means every time his team scores, he finds his wife, and he gives her a kiss every time.
Yep.
And
we
if
just
you
got a high five.
If you're in the roadway, you get a high five.
if you happen to be in the way there,
We were in the
then
middle.
you might get a high five, or maybe like a hey, are you cool, or a fist bump,
You're good, right? You're
and
good?
then he's back. You know?
A-okay.
Yeah,
I give you a roll tide and a fist
yeah.
bump.
There you go,
Yeah.
roll tide. There you go,
Roll
yeah.
tide.
Yeah, I love that.
So yeah. So the first night, I don't think you guys liked me much, so you left.
Oh gosh,
And,
it's not that we didn't like you. We,
I didn't
we
say
just
that.
didn't have anything. Yeah, we didn't have anything negative to say, honestly. It's like, oh,
He couldn't have
it's
not
nice.
liked us that much because he came back the next day with treats for the dog.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
did not
Very
not
Dexter
like you.
of
Any
you.
excuse to come back, right? We just couldn't get enough of you guys. I don't know. There was something about you guys that he's just like, no, I really, really need to be around them. Like, okay, then. Bye.
I
See you
still
later.
claim the Dexter tendencies.
Oh, no.
And I thought that was good.
Checking every room, wanting to see everything.
And I told when I told Anissa, we were walking back to the van after the parade, and I said, "Oh, we got a friend coming over to Thanksgiving today. I met him yesterday." And she's like, "Are you crazy? What if he's a murderer like Dexter?" So I just told John, I was like, "She thinks you're a murderer and you're gonna kill us like Dexter." So
Okay, our own fault. We had just introduced him to Dexter like 2 days before that, and they had watched probably like 7 or 8 episodes straight. So yeah, it was like, wait, we don't let strangers in the house. We don't know what he's gonna do. And of course, he played on every single joke.
Exactly. He just kept
See what I walked into?
pushing it, making it more suspicious.
it was great. It was great. And the reason I think it's very important just for us to talk about this story is because you are exactly the opposite of what people normally do with the Moran family, because we're a lot.
They see us coming, they run.
That's what it feels like, and maybe that's not it. Maybe it's our own insecurity, but with us being so big, having so much autism show its face, it's not typical that people come to our house and then, want to come back for more. Some family members, some friends, but it's not a typical situation for us. So I thought it was very important for us to kind of give context about how we met you. And it's like, well, how can you admire their marriage? You've only known them for a month. It's like, well, it's their marriage, it's their family, it's their heart for people. We've kind of learned a lot about each other in the past month.
Yeah, and I think it's because we're also like really invitational. We open up everything, we let you in. Our home is open to everyone, and I think you all walking in and seeing that maybe for yourself, and also me walking into your house.
Yeah, mine's not so invitational. I'm just throwing it out there. Y'all don't just show up at my door because you're not John.
You're not John, you're not Susie, you're not the Fab Four.
About them,
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so, but yeah, we just first, I think I want to say thanks. Really appreciate the love that you all have actually given us. And I think we walked into each other's lives really not understanding how much we probably needed each other.
Yeah, I agree.
And, we have been going through some, internal things and stuff. And for those who don't know, we do have a 501c3. We do have a ministry here at the house. So that's also accepting a lot of outsiders coming in, looking at your home and at your lifestyle, and then
Judging.
but we kind of give them the freedom to do that by inviting them into our home, and that it kind of comes with the territory, judgment and whatever else. But, also there's a lot of good things that come from it as well. But we were at that time just in the middle of just, oh man, like,
Are there any other good people in this world? Honestly, everyone is evil, It's like they're good for 2 minutes, and then it's like, really? This whole time you were evil? And it's
Church
like,
face.
yes,
Church
yes.
face. Yes.
I don't think everybody's evil. I think, obviously
But that's
it
just
could
the
be viewed
mentality
upon.
or where we were at that moment, that it's like, really, there's no good people, You just get discouraged sometimes.
I think because we are more about loyalty, and I'm the type of guy that if I'm close with you, I'm a protector. So I think that's how I am. I'm a protector. I love you. You're in my life. You're my friend. You're my family, whatever it is. And if I even hear or think that anyone is trying to harm you or doing anything, I don't know, like that sense kind of comes out, if you want to call it sixth sense, or kind of like that fire starts to burn in me. And I believe that when I'm experiencing that, when I feel like maybe we're being persecuted or attacked or someone's coming against us, I think naturally, because we judge the way that we live our lives, I think that my expectation is for others to come alongside us and then do the same, you know, fight for us, protect us. I mean, this is, to me, friendship and relationships are very valuable. Like that's more than money, more than anything. So when, I'm being attacked or anything like that, and I feel like others kind of throw their hands up or take a step back and say, well, that's not for me, and
I'm not going to get involved.
I'm not going to get
That's
involved.
your department. You're a pastor.
Right.
You're supposed to protect the sheep. But here's the thing. If you look at it from the perspective of marriage, your job as a husband is to protect your wife. right? So that's natural in you to be the protector. It is what you are. He's the same way with me. Anything can come against anybody, but if you come against me or the kids, there is a whole different side of Quincy that anybody will ever see. I've only seen it a few times in my life, and it's scary. But who does that for you?
Right.
You know, you guys can protect each other, but sometimes you need somebody else to come alongside and help. That's why we do what we do with this, because not everybody has that help. You know, when things are hard and you're struggling through it, sometimes even as a husband and a wife, you just can't see straight with each other, because you can't. How do you do that when you're in protective mode? How do you be vulnerable with somebody and be protective at the same time? It's not easy. And it's a place of...
It's definitely a place of vulnerability. And one of the things that it's like one of my life philosophies that I abide by is, if you can make sense of this, is it's hard to see the picture when you're standing in the frame. But those of us who are outside and can see your picture, those are the people that you need while you're in the middle of something or so close to something. You need them to come alongside you, to be around you, to protect you. And I think that's probably, you know, whatever cosmic situation happened. I think your family and our family, we've had some deep wounds. Not together. We didn't even know each other. But there's a place there where we can relate, because it's been so many times where you've been disappointed or hurt or badly wounded by people that were supposed to be close to you, people that were supposed to have your back, people that had your best interest and that you had been in the trenches with, and then they left. And we've been in that situation, you know, with family or friends, and you know, it's just, that's a very difficult thing, and sometimes it's really good to have people in your life. Sad for you, you've been through it, but at least we can relate to that. And I think that's a place where, you know, we can connect, because I'm a firm believer that if you're in the ministry, people suffer anyway in this life. It's just a part of life. But when you're in the ministry, man,
expectations are high.
They save the special ones for you, and that's just the way it is.
Every family has one. Every 501c3 has about 10.
Oh, wow.
Just saying.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think that was why it was important for me to get the story out of how we met. It was like by chance, but not really by chance.
It's not just chance. Okay, you meet a guy in Costco. We have the same car. Okay.
Literally
he's got 4 kids, we've got 9. Our son, this is not my fault, this is our son's fault, so y'all take it up with him for the verbiage. But as soon as they came over, there's all these kids, you know, and John and Susie and their kids, and then here comes Shane. Okay, he's the white kid that doesn't look like he belongs here, but he's there. So Josiah, first thing he says is, "Mama, what? You see this, right? Like, they're the reverse of us." And I'm laughing because I'm not going to say anything, but that was how he took it. And it was so funny. But then Nicholas comes in the room, and I was telling John, I'm like, Jehovah sneaky on that one, because autism is something that's very, very, very easy for me to just accept. Yeah. There's no wall there. I can't have a wall there. And as soon as I met Nicholas, I was like, oh, come on in, sit him down, do whatever he wants. He can have whatever he wants to do. That's fine. And it was just one of those places that I don't trust easy. I never trust easy. Most people that come to our house to meet us, you can ask him, I will stay in the kitchen away from you and I won't talk. You meet him, you meet the kids, I'm going to watch you.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't like that at all. So it's not just that we accidentally met. There has to be something more to that. Yeah. Especially if I let my walls down, all the kids are like, Dad, what's going on with her? Dad.
Do something about Mom. She's out of character over here.
Yeah.
Josiah especially, he come over and he's just like, really?
You're I was okay trusting with this? You to take care of this.
That's right. So that's kind of how our story began, you know, and even though I was so rude and watched, I did inform you I was going to watch the game.
You did.
So I did put that disclaimer out there.
Yeah.
You didn't know what you were in store for, but it was there. With that being said, the next game, you know, somehow you came up with something to do and didn't show up. So I must have just made a bad impression.
No, the next time they came over, we were watching hockey. and they brought 2 friends over to meet us with their girls, and that was the night that I was like, y'all are here, but I ain't here. I'm watching the game over there. They're watching UFC on one TV, and I was watching hockey on the other TV, and every time somebody's asking me questions, we're saying, yeah. So we both have our things.
So with that being said, that is like foundational for how we met.
Yes.
Just about a month ago.
Yep. In a nutshell.
And y'all have a compelling story. You have a beautiful family. You have a heart for the community. And so if you would, however long you want to take, just tell us your story, how you met.
Do you want to tell the right version, or do you want him to tell it?
I know, right? There's always 2 versions.
No,
wait,
there's not. There is one version. It's just that you forget.
Whether baskets were being held on heads or not.
Listen,
Because
so just
honestly,
get your popcorn ready.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. I
Go
think
ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna take the lead on this.
Just
one.
the short version, not the you were born on this day and traveled miles.
They want to know how we met. We're gonna tell them how we met. Okay? Right? That's how we're
Okay.
gonna do. You know? We're gonna tell them how we met.
Do it.
So once upon a time,
No. So
way down in the hood. No.
yeah. So, my mother had just came from Panama, so I'm originally Panamanian. So my mother had just came to Panama. I've been in the States for years. Lived in San Diego. She was getting her things together. Asked if I'll be willing to want to move with her to LA, Inglewood to be exact.
Inglewood.
Yeah. And literally up to no good.
Hey, was that for the next episode of your life? Oh, stop.
So I get there. I move in with my mom. We get there at nighttime. We moved to 102nd Street, Prairie. I mean, you're talking hood as it gets. Literally
What was happening when you actually moved up?
So when I moved up, that night, we see a bunch of like Tongans flipping over an ice cream truck.
Wow. You know Tongans, right? Moana, like.
I mean, these people are huge.
Yeah.
Right, and especially compared to me. Yeah, they were flipping it over. Scary. Before that, my cousins tell me, "Hey, you're moving to gang territory. You know, you're not gonna be in the country anymore."
Oh my god.
So we're moving up there, and that's the first thing I see. Good Lord, help me, you know. So we move into the apartment. I stay inside, and but the next morning, I open up the blinds, and I see this girl.
How old
she's
were you at this
probably,
time? How old were you?
I was
13?
13 going on 14.
Probably.
You know, or 14. But I think I was about 14 by then.
Yeah, I'm 3
and
years
you were
younger than
you were 10 or 11, at that time. And anyway, so I see this beautiful girl just with a basket on her head. That's what I saw.
This is where it becomes debatable because never in my life would I put a basket. I'm not living in I'm from Guatemala, yes, but I was
so
not
the thing
living
is, she didn't see me, so she didn't see that I was seeing what she was doing. Anyway, I get out. I can't see her any further through the window, so I actually literally have to get out. So I get out of the apartment, and I wait for her to get some distance, and I start following her, and it's about a 30.
Not creepy at all. Not creepy at all.
It's a 37-unit apartment.
So this is a pattern, is what I'm hearing.
No,
It is. It's a pattern.
Following.
It works for me.
behind.
Look, it works for me, right? So she's walking down this super long kind of corridor thing going on, and I can't see her anymore because there are some stairs leading to what I found out later. There was a little laundromat, in the back of the apartment units. Mm-hmm. So I can't see her anymore, and I'm on my way back, and there's this kid that just starts asking me, "Hey, kid, are you new?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am. Hey, you want to come in play some Nintendo?" And I'm like, "Sure," like go in his apartment. About 20 minutes later, who walks through those doors? It's the same girl, right?
It is a pattern.
And I say, "Hey, who is that?" He says, "Oh, that's just my cousin Susy." I was like, oh, okay. And there was an upstairs to the apartment. I'm playing with him. And then a few minutes later, I'm like, hey, when do you think she's going to come downstairs? And he's like, well, why do you care? Now, he's like 9. I'm like 14 or something. And maybe he was 10. I think Cousin Tony was around 10 maybe. Anyhow, so she finally comes down. I put the controllers down. I stand up in front of her. And hey, I'm John. What's your name? And she just kind of, now I have my hand out like to shake her hand. She doesn't take my hand. She just kind of looks me up and down and says, Susanna. And I'm
That's
like,
my name.
Yeah. So
Formal.
listen, if you find out anything about my wife Susy here, is that if she says Susanna, that means she doesn't like you. Okay.
That's not what it is. It's
So
just
and we'll tell
platonic,
the
formal.
other story of
Oh,
how that
gosh.
connects to this at another time. But so that's what she does. She walks away. I'm like, I'm in love. This is great. I wait for her to leave and then, run back to my apartment. And she's in apartment 6 and I live in apartment 5.
So
right
we're
next door.
neighbors.
Next door neighbors.
Yep. Who
I
would've
go
known?
in, tell my little brother, hey, I just met this girl and I'm going to marry her one day. And yeah.
He actually forgot that he said that. And when we were actually getting married, didn't he bring it up then?
Yeah, my brother brought it back up.
Yeah, he's like, do you
See?
remember that one time?
Yeah.
You had totally forgotten
Yeah.
you did that.
So the thing about it is, like we talked about, there was an age difference. So it was always a problem. You know how it is, right? At least I think you know how it is. For those of you who are out there. So I'm in high school. She's not.
Oh, God.
Now I'm a senior.
I'm a
She's a freshman. I'm a big brother and like the fraternities and you know what I mean? So she comes in. I always have this love for her, but it's kind of one that I have to keep to myself. And
Not really, because everyone knew. Even if you were keeping it to yourself, everybody knew. Like, Susie, John has a crush on you. I'm like, yeah. But that's just John. It's okay. Like,
I just
we were
decided.
still friends.
Yeah, I just decided for her to turn a proper age, and when she turned 20 years old. That's when I just, obviously a lot of things happened between there, where me working, me being gone, not seeing her for a bit, and then eventually seeing her again, and then.
You weren't playing any games then when you came back.
Oh
You were
yeah,
just
I just want to get married now. I'm like, I'm so done with all of that, and
just by chance, you went back to sort of the same neighborhood.
yeah, actually, it was funny because when after I graduated from high school, I did some college, went to El Camino, and then after that, started going to trade school. Then I went to Santa Monica. Then I went to try to get my stuff in computer technology. But anyway, became an electrician. All that led to me being an electrician. And I was working at NASDAQ, the shipbuilding yard down in San Diego. And I just wanted to come back. Wanted to go back to LA, and moving back to Inglewood. And that's where I saw her cousin. And hadn't seen her by chance. Just happened to go outside.
Was it at Costco?
No, not at all.
What do you know about Costco then?
And that was it, asked for her number and met up with you, and we chatted, dated for
a couple of months,
and then got married like 6 months after seeing her again. That's what happened. God is good.
That's right.
I'm saving you guys a lot of time by not going into details of all the other things. So,
of everything
but I'm
that
sure little
happened in
things might
between.
come out here and there. So
Yeah.
Excellent.
But
So,
yep.
Susie, is there anything that you want to add or take away from that story?
We're not gonna get into technicalities, but no. But yeah, that's how it pretty much happened. He was set on being ready and just telling me exactly how he felt. And he wasn't playing any games, and I was in a relationship, and he's pretty much just selling me on like, that guy's no good for you. Like, I'm gonna take care of you, and all this and all that.
she wasn't
So,
just in a relationship; she was engaged.
We're not gonna talk about the details
So.
he said.
But that was my wife.
Yeah.
I always saw her as my wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And he won in the
Yeah.
end. So
And there is an unwritten rule that goes like, I saw her first, right? So,
You called dibs.
yes.
when
Yeah.
I was 11,
Yep,
yeah.
and I had to wait. So,
Sean's like, I put in the time. No.
Yeah, I did.
Exactly. I waited all these years.
Yeah.
Yep. So here we are, 20 years later.
yeah, it's going to be a 20-year anniversary in August. So,
Yep.
How exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Moving towards the big 20.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Dang, it's kind of weird even saying that.
I know, right?
I still feel like we were just in high school.
So many
No,
years
don't
ago.
do that again.
One of you were in high school.
Yeah. Ouch.
You're going backwards there, buddy. Don't do it. You're going to have to go through the torture again.
That's funny. At least I thought it was funny. Probably bad taste. So talk to me, talk to us, talk to the audience, about what does marriage mean to you? I give each of you a little bit of time, just to talk about what marriage means to you.
Do you want to go first?
You can go first. Go ahead.
So I know that for one thing, marriage is very special. Reason I'm saying that is because before Susie, during my time away working and kind of, growing up, if you will, I had two maybe 3 opportunities to get married. In fact, I was going to get married with previous girls for whatever reasons. Family had a lot of involvement in that, and each one I declined. I didn't want to do it. The very last one, my family was very upset with me. They didn't talk to me for almost a year and a half. They felt that was a great person to get married to. They thought everything was going to be great and fantastic. They really liked this particular girl, and she was fine and everything, when it comes to all those things. But I did tell my family that I've always felt like the Lord had already put in my heart that I was going to get married out of love. And that was a big problem for my family, for whatever their reasons at the time. I don't know if they feel the same about things now. Obviously, people, they grow, and we get there when we get there. But I think time has proven that to be true. I had a family member that said, well, like, love isn't going to pay the bills, or, it's not going to get you to where you want. And, look at me and my significant other. And we didn't necessarily need to love each other, but, but for myself, I believed highly, and I thought that was directly a word from God to me. And seeing that, I've been knowing her for 29 years now, right? So 10 years before I even asked her, 19 years of being married, and now we're about to go on 30 years together of just, come on, like, time has been evident proving this to be true. So, I look at it as something sacred, something that's very special. And it is something that, isn't just that I care for her or that she just cares for me, but is what we're willing to give up for one another. Like, I care more about her happiness, or she cares more about my happiness than her own. I care more about hers than my own. You get it? So when we live our lives like that, you get to see the evidence of it even through your children, the kids. And I know that this might sound really mean to a lot of people out there. And I honestly, I would challenge anyone out there who would like to challenge me on this fact that I believe, in my personal opinion, is a fact. I don't even know if that's even legal to say that. But to me, this is how I personally feel, is that, and I've told this to my children, and I think it was hard at first them hearing it, but now they talk to me and they say, hey, Dad, we believe in that. We thank you so much for bringing that up. And what that is I've actually had to tell them, listen, I love your mother more than I love you. And I said, one day you're going to leave. One day you're going to go off. You're going to get married. You're going to have your own life. And it's important for me to continue to promote, this woman's happiness and to be there for her. And I think that one day when they grow up and when they get married, they'll understand it. And as we've seen the evidence of that, we have one 18-year-old who's off to college. Technically, she's at the house right now on vacation, and she kind of comes every weekend, and we love you, Eliza. You're always welcome to come back, and she brings her friends, hey, But I think that the time has been evidence and proven that now that same concept is one that she is actually not only carrying with her, but she's actually promoting to even her peers. So they come asking for advice about relationships and things like that. So to me, that's what I feel about marriage. I don't know if that was even the question. I went off on a rant. Was I monologuing? I'm sorry.
We've come to the right place.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey, our audience is like, they know what monologue is about. Because they listen to me often. But it was a great answer. Great answer. And the reason it's a great answer is because authentically, it's what's in your heart. It's what you believe, and it's how you're intentional about approaching your relationship. And anybody who's married knows that you can have a whole lot of good intentions, but if you don't back that up with actions,
really, amen, brother.
It's worthless, right?
It's the words become worthless. So Susie,
Yes.
talk to us about what is marriage.
What does marriage mean? I think that's like the relationship that you actually get to pick, because it's like you don't pick your parents, you don't pick your siblings, you can pick a friendship until that's over, but it's like the lifelong relationship that you pick, and then covenant, like that's just such a strong word that it's like, I just feel marriage has been cheapened over the last however long, you know, it's just a piece of paper. They could be over and done with it, throw it away, get a divorce, and it's like on to the next, you know. But honestly, yeah, marriage is pretty much our way of choosing each other and honestly building a legacy for our kids and for their kids, you know.
Yep.
Living obviously a life that's worthy of his calling and raising the kids, you know, in a good positive way where they're going to go, and then they'll teach their kids and then their own kids, you know. So it's not something that you can just ship out as soon as something gets hard, because I mean, what's the fun of that? And then what happens if you do that once? Honestly, the way I look at it is like you're going to continue doing it, you know?
Yep.
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Exactly. So it's like, I mean, we've gone through ups and downs, you know, several issues. And it's like, yeah, I even had people tell me like, oh, you need to leave. This is a perfect opportunity for you to like leave this relationship. And no, it's like, that's when you actually stick through it and work through it. And that's pretty much where you put your money where your mouth is, or how does that saying go?
That's it.
You know, so it's like the one person that you choose to love forever until he dies, I die. I told him, I'm like, I don't believe in divorce, but I will believe in murder, you know? So
We've had those conversations.
it's hilarious. So that's the only way we're going to be over and done is if somebody dies by my hand or... No, just kidding. Don't quote me.
Maybe she's Dexter.
There's a reason why I'm always quiet, right? No, but I mean, I am really passionate about that. Like, I'm a really solid person, and, you know, I love commitment and having, you know, your yes be yes, your no be no.
Absolutely.
Like, be straight up. I don't like games. So, yeah, I just feel marriage is a great example, you know, not just to us, but everybody around you, you know? It's like the gospel you believe is what you do with everything. So it's like the basic.
She means more of like, so your marriage pretty much represents the gospel that you believe in. You know, you're going to showcase that. How much do you believe? Your marriage is going to show it. If you're ending this in divorce or in separation, I believe anything that ends in separation in any type of way truly shows internally the gospel that you actually believe in. Because the gospel itself is supposed to be good news. It's supposed to be our unity. It's supposed to be about togetherness and a good godly structure. And when you see separation or someone leaving and walking away, then that right there is your answer. You know, Jesus never leaves. And even if when he did leave and he had to, he says, hey, it's good for me to leave, but I am going to, you know, send you a helper, someone that's going to help you to do even greater things than I am. I'm not leaving you alone. Right. And I think that when we say that we love someone, but yet we say bye.
I love you until
right.
it gets too hard and then I'm out.
Or we've been told, well, I'll love you at a distance. What does that even mean? That's, you know, it's almost like a cowardly way of like, well, I don't want you to be mad at me, but I can't do this with you anymore. And it's kind of like marriage is life. It's life together.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what a relationship is. A relationship is doing life together. I mean, we've had people who've come to us and says, well, you know, I don't really believe in marriage and getting married because if we do this, then my family normally ends up in divorce if they get married. And, you know, marriage causes this and marriage causes problems. And the reality is that marriage doesn't cause anything. The reality is that marriage reveals what was already there. A relationship with someone reveals what's already there. Right? So when somebody goes running for the hills or they decide that they want to walk out those doors or whatever, it's because there was already something there that was revealed and they no longer either want to share that or they're ashamed of it or you get what I mean? Or they just don't want to do this. And I think if we were all like, you know, straight up with each other from the very beginning, we would have just really saved a lot of problems and heartaches, right? But what we do in our marriage is we teach people how to come together, how to, I guess the meaning of our ministry is a ministry of reconciliation, how to reconcile first back to the Lord and then to one another, right? A lot of times people don't understand what it's like to have a relationship with God, a godly relationship, so they base it off of their hurts, their pains, their parents or whatever, and they have a misconception of who God himself is, and then they bring that into the relationship, and then you have all these issues. So we take these broken pieces and then we teach them how to rectify this, what the scripture says and how it leads. And if we do it exactly like what the scripture says, then our marriage now has 100% chance to be victorious, right? Because now we have one thing in common, right? And that, whatever that is, that one thing that's in common, which to us should be and is Jesus Christ, as long as he's at the center of this, then we're going to live a thriving and unified life together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good word. And just some of the things that stuck out to me is about choosing and committing. And I agree with you. It's like the value of what marriage actually is has been eroding for some time. Like society seeks to destabilize that. Yep. And I mean, Jeannie and I were talking about it in an episode before this, that it's kind of like society seeks to destabilize everything that has anything to do with commitment and personal responsibility. Yep. And that's like one of the foundational principles that we follow is commitment in our relationship. Because we've been at the 10-year mark in our marriage, we had both considered that maybe we should walk away. And, there was plenty of trauma in our relationship. There was chaos at home. There was autism and health issues. And, when you take a step back and look at your situation and say, well, who in the world could relate to me more? Who could I serve or love or support more than this woman? She's been through this with me. So it was that point that we made a choice and kind of recommitted and decided that we were going to do this thing called marriage with like great intentions, doing this stuff on purpose. And I do think, I received, I don't know how many emails, and they're heart-wrenching because it is men who are separated from their wife, living in the same home, separated, wife sleeping in another room. And, it was terrible. And there is an element of that. It's like they would ask me what to do, and I would talk to them about what to do. And they would get mad at me over email because I'm saying, here's where it starts. They would try it once and then just, kind of attack me because it didn't work. And it's like, hey,
one and done.
It didn't. Yeah, it's like it didn't take you one time
like
to get to where
magic
you are. I feel for you.
Yeah.
But this is going to be work. And it's like I was at the gym the other day, and somebody asked me, what's the secret to marriage? And so I was like, oh, well, here's A, B, and C. But later I thought about it, and it's like there is no secret to marriage. There's no secret.
Yeah.
It takes work. It takes commitment. It takes these things in order for it to work. Or you're going to be roommates, or you're going to be divorced.
Yep.
And which way do you want to go? And so I love what y'all are talking about. I love that you bring up your faith, because faith in Jesus Christ. I mean, that is, the center point. That's one of the things that brought Jeannie and I together. It was, I saw this 3x5 card of her schedule, and it was like prayer, Bible study, college, Bible study. I don't know. It was a lot of things, and there were prayer and Bible study all over it. And I was like, I have never seen this lady, but on paper, she's smoking hot. This is my kind of girl. So that was one of the things that brought us together. And it was one of the things that started to push us apart, because we almost didn't get married because of my religious beliefs. And it all came down to one night, Deuteronomy 22:5, and it was almost over. About women. It doesn't say pants, but a woman shouldn't put on what pertains to a man. If she does, she's an abomination to God. Completely out of context. But in the Church of God in Alabama and the South and wherever else they are, it's like, if this woman wears pants, well, she's an abomination to God.
You're not even supposed to come into the church and sit down and listen to a message if you are wearing pants. And they will tell you at the end of the message, the next time you come, you can't be wearing that, or you don't need to come in. I mean, there's some hard stuff back there that I would not fit in well with. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
And some of that has evolved because, we went out. My dad is a pastor now. We went out and
he has a beard. I'm so proud of him.
I didn't even think about it. I don't know why. I didn't consider on this long 22-day trip that we went on, I forgot to have the girls pack a dress or a skirt or something so we could go to church. And I just told my dad, I'm like, Dad, I'm sorry, dude. It was my fault. I forgot. He said, son, bring everybody to church. So he had kind of like evolved past what our pastor, when I grew up, because I brought a girl to church, she was wearing pants, and he was like, tell her if she's not gonna dress right, don't show up. And I was like, something just didn't set well with me.
Yeah.
So, you know, knowing that where your foundation begins, it's Christ.
That's right.
You know, and we've told people before we're Christians, but we don't have a Christian podcast. And it's funny because when people hear that I have a marriage podcast, they automatically assume it's church. And there's a lot of those out there that are church.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, we're Christians. We're of the Christian faith, but this is not like a church podcast. This is about marriage in our life. It's the center of who we are. It's the foundation of who we are. And but I'm glad you mentioned that, because there are some people out there that are lost in their faith, or maybe they've walked away, or they don't realize that that is a part of something, that commitment, the commitment that Christ had to us as the body, and what we commit to him. That commitment can be coupled into your relationship. And then when things get hard, or there's despair, hopelessness, pain, whatever, you can find your way back because you have that common foundation that would be Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like special love, sacrifice. I love that you say it's the person you pick, because it is.
Yeah.
I've never even thought about it that way. It's like, this is the one person you pick.
Yes.
And I'm like, hey.
It was a choice.
Yeah. And it starts there. And as life goes on, you have to continually choose that person again.
Yes.
See, that's where the problems come in marriage. People want to say it's marriage itself is the problem because this is the pattern that we see, or my parents got divorced, or this is what happens. But like everything else in life, it's choice. You make a conscious decision, whether it's good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent, doesn't matter. You make a conscious choice in everything that you're doing. If you choose to be pissed off, you choose to be pissed off.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Maybe what he said did make me angry, but I'm choosing to be mad about that.
And stay
How I
mad.
choose to respond to that is also my choice. If your response is, you know what, I'm done with this, I can't handle it, I'm leaving, you chose that.
Right.
Marriage didn't do that to you. Nobody caused it to happen. There's a cause and effect, but you make the choice which one is going to happen. Which effect is going to happen. It's up to you. And a lot of society, people, however you want to say it come down to, I don't want to accept responsibility for anything. I'm just going to, it's your fault.
Right.
If I'm hurt, it's on you. And I don't have to get past it. I don't have to forgive it. It's yours to deal with. Wrong. You may have been the person that hurt me, but it's my choice to hang on to it and let it fester and let it eat at me and make things worse and make me a worse person. Or it's my choice to say, you know what? I don't want you in my life anymore, but I'm going to forgive you for this, and I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to do something new. And I'm going to find the people that belong with me. Now, when it comes to me and him and our marriage, if he does something to hurt me, it's my choice to hold on or forgive. If I'm going to hold on to it, it's my choice to treat him like crap and let things keep continuing to fester and go bad. If I choose to let him know, dude, that hurt, and I don't know how we fix that. So I need you to sit down with me and figure out how do we spin this so that we're not constantly going through this again. But it's a choice. I chose to tell him. If you don't tell him, how does he know?
Exactly.
If you don't work through it, what do you do? I mean, our first 10 years dealing with autism and sickness and all these other things, we never talked about it because both of us were dealing with our own stuff, and I don't want to burden him and he doesn't want to burden me. We've got enough.
Yeah.
And then it came down to, well, if we would have just opened our freaking mouths and said something to realize
Communicate.
this is what it's doing to him and this is what it's doing to me, and what do we do moving forward so that we're not doing this to each other
And
anymore?
come to find out he didn't really intentionally want to hurt you.
Right.
Well, like the Jack and Jill we were talking to before, we were just mentioning this earlier today. It's like, you know, he comes home and he does things for his wife because her language is acts of service. But what does it look like? Because your acts of service is not the same as mine. Coming home and doing the dishes for me was like proving to me that I fell short today because I didn't get my stuff done. And you had to come in and pick up after me because I couldn't do it. That wasn't his intention at all. His intention was to come alongside me and help do something so that it was off my plate. What I wanted him to do, which he didn't know, was come take care of the kids. Let me finish my list of things to do so I feel accomplished, and you go spend time with them so I don't have to be split between two things. But if we don't know that, then you're unintentionally hurting the person, and you have no clue that you did it. And now I'm over here pissed off at him because why do you keep picking up my stuff?
Right.
Why do you keep showing me where I'm falling short? And he's over here going,
I thought I was helping.
now he always tells me if something's up and we don't know, he just, give me the playbook. Give me the playbook. What am I supposed to do here?
Wow.
And let's go from there. And
Talk
it's
in
like,
terms
okay,
you understand.
you
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
That's exactly where it's at, because I can say anything all I want, but if she's hearing something totally different, then we're not going to be able to connect right. And so we live by one of the philosophies of say it ugly and then we'll clean it up. Just tell me.
If you ever hear that, just be warned.
Oh, wow.
We
Sounds
use
ugly.
it with everybody. I'm going to say this ugly, so just bear with me.
We'll clean it up. You get
you
a
know
mulligan.
something's coming.
You get a mulligan. Say it how you got to say it. And we'll just work on it from there.
And you just have to keep choosing, you know? It's like after so many years, it's like you think things are just magically going to stay this way. Like, no, you fell in love with this person doing A, B, and C.
Yep.
It's like you're going to have to continue doing that. Like, it's not just going to automatically be on a steady wheel that just turns by itself. Like, no, you have to continuously choose. I mean, love is an action, right? It's not a feeling. Like, one day you wake up crummy and it's like, oh, well, I don't love you today, so I'm going to treat you like crap. Like, no.
That's right.
It's an action.
And it's
It
always
is.
changing. People are always changing. You know, you look at your love languages, and they're one thing when you got married, and then later on down the line, we redid ours, and we're going,
That changed.
this is different. You know, and it's supposed to not change.
Yeah.
But my life changed, and the person that I became changed.
Yeah.
So, of course, these things are going to change because I'm not affected the same way I was before.
Right.
But I don't think that a lot of people see that. You know, he went through a transformation and he became a different person. I had to change with that or get left behind. So I had to make a choice. I'm going to choose to see what he's doing and find out what works, and we're going to build from that. If you're not willing to make the decision to stick it out, don't sign the paper.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not really willing to put in the work, don't any relationship with me, if you're not willing to put in the work and it's going to end up being your 5 to my 50, walk, dude. I don't have time for it. I just don't.
So true.
So, you know, next, you know, I had on the list here, give us a piece of advice for marriage. I think you've given us a lot, but if you got something left.
John always has something.
Yeah.
He's over there putting stuff on his phone. I
No,
know
no,
he's got
no,
something.
Yeah, I can't help it when I'm talking to people or when they're talking. I just, for some reason, just scripture just kind of keeps popping up into my head, and it kind of helps me to kind of understand where y'all are coming from, or you know where the conversation is being led. But I think even with this thing about love and marriage, and you know, you said that it's changing, and the reality is that it does evolve. You know, you start off, my advice is understand that love starts off one particular way, but then ends up a different. And you have to adapt into that. I know that the Greeks had their different loves. In the West here, we use the word love, but the reality is that love, it means different things, you know. Just because I say I love you, I can say I love you to my child. I can say I love you to my spouse. I can say I love you to my boss. I can say I love you to a friend, and those have different meanings behind them. Understand? And just like in your marriage, in the beginning, you start off one way, and I think that we kind of start off with literally almost the most scariest part of love, which definitely the Greeks talked about that was something that frightened them, and that was eros. That was kind of like loss of control of love. You fall head over heels over someone, and anything they say, you're just kind of like, you just are there to do all their bidding. Like they just
Until they leave
got
their
you.
underwear on the floor.
Right.
And you're like,
Right?
yo, that wasn't part of this deal.
But then it continues to evolve, right? And then it becomes more of a playful type of love. As you get to know that person, you feel more comfortable doing more things around them. because then it's almost like the judgment part of the love is gone, right? Like you no longer have that, but you went through enough things to get to this part. And I believe that the Greeks call that ludus, right? Like that's the playful love. And obviously they have like 6 different varieties, but really it's more than 6. But at the end, they've got that, you got to have that long standing love, right? And I don't know if we ever really get to the love that God has for us, which is the agape love, but we definitely get really, really close to it. I think in a marriage that has, I'm not going to say survived, but a marriage that has thrived over a lifetime, whether if it's that's 10 years or 20 years or however long any of your listeners' marriage has been, you know, you will know that look at your spouse, look at the person that you've been married to, and over the years you've seen not only a physical change in that person, right, but also the way that they accept you, the way that they look at you.
Absolutely,
it's different, right? So we call that pragma, right? That's that long-standing love. And I believe that a lot of today's young couples are expecting to have all of those different loves in one package.
Right.
And it doesn't come like that. It is in the package as that person is a package, but it comes at the time that it needs to. And the Bible does say that there is a time for everything.
Right.
There's a time to cry. There's a time to mourn. There's a time to laugh, right? There's different times. In anyone who is a human and has lived long enough, even I believe, even a 5-year-old child has an understanding there has been different times in their lives that different things have happened. There's a time to have fun and things like that. But even in a relationship, in a marriage, there's time for different things. You must accept that when the time comes for you to stand firm and to be there for your spouse, right? Because of whatever could be going on with her. It could be anything. It could be postpartum depression. It could be anything, whatever it is. Literally, yes, we do forget our wedding vows. We do forget that we're there for sickness and in health. We have a tendency of forgetting those things when they're not convenient to us. But there's times that marriage is not so convenient, is it? But what does the word say? The word of God says to be ready in and out of season, my friend. Okay, so you got to be ready for her, whether if she's going through this or she's going through that. You all came into your marriage in a different way than Susie and I, as far as with the kids. I believe that your very first child had maybe autism or some sort of issues, right? Disability. I think it was a hearing, you were telling me.
He was born with microtia, and then he was later diagnosed with autism.
See, so for us, we only have 4 compared to y'all, but
You said only have
Only, like
right.
it's,
That's
you know,
hilarious.
right, but
it's not a big deal.
but for us, we didn't experience any of that until our 4th. Our first 3, we didn't have any of these issues. So when it happened, it was strange to us. It was very strange to me. In fact, when Nicholas, I believe he was at the year 4, 4 years in January, because it was before Eliza's birthday. I believe this is 2012. He started having seizures and stuff. And I had no idea what it was. And in fact, he used to sleep with Eliza. And Eliza came into the room and said, I think something is wrong with Nicholas. And he was in the bed, kind of like in an awkward, weird looking position. And there was, but there was like slobber all over the bed and all around his mouth. And I'm like, well, maybe he's just cold. Like, that's kind of weird that he's slobbering so much. So I brought him back and I said, well, let me warm him up. So we brought him into bed with us. And at that time, Susie was still commuting to LA. And I believe that you were just getting ready. I think you were just like jumping in the shower. I was in the bed with Nicholas, and then he started having a seizure, and I didn't know that that's what it was. That's how ignorant I was to this. So I picked him up and kind of brought him over to where she was and said, hey, something is wrong with him. She goes, oh my gosh, honey, he's having a seizure. You got to put him down. I'm like, oh, okay. And that was it. And then the next thing you know, we're calling the paramedics. You have them in front of our house. All of our neighbors are coming out, and what's going on. And that was the beginning of that for us.
Yes.
Our lives
You
changed.
just sat down in the roller coaster, and somebody just closed the belt over you. You were on the ride now, buddy.
Right. Yep.
Yep.
But that was that time for us. And even in that, right, our marriage and our love for one another isn't based upon a moment, right? It's everything. It's the entire history from beginning to where we're at today. If I'm basing decisions upon just this one isolated incident or moment, like you sit back down and you think this over, my friend, right? That is not marriage. That is not marriage. Is a lifelong thing, commitment, doing this together, literally no matter what. For me, I'm stuck because she already told you she doesn't believe in divorce. she
She
believes
does
in
believe
murder. So I am kind of sweating as I'm telling you this.
Gulp.
But marriage is an absolute, one of the most beautiful things that I've ever been able to experience. Because if you think about it, even, and I know that maybe I am overdoing it, but as us being Christians and all, and experiencing our submersion and our baptism, it's actually a ceremony that we're actually getting married to God, right? Is that not a commitment, a life unto here and forever more after? So we don't look at our marriage and we don't look at our friendships with other people as a 40 to 80 year lifespan. We look at it from now and forever. That we're doing life with y'all. Life and life until now, until the Lord calls us home. We will see you then. So we live for that moment. So literally, absent from the body means to be present with the Lord. So what people fear more, including during this COVID time and season, I'm afraid of getting sick because I'm ultimately what people are afraid of is dying, right? You're afraid of dying, but the reality is, as Christians, that is the one thing that we welcome, because that means that what we are living for is for that moment anyway. Now we just get to experience it a little bit sooner than somebody else, right? But it's not a bad thing. It is absolutely, life itself is beautiful. And I mean, God has given us this amazing relationship, this other person that can come alongside you, that is, to me, she's my helper. You know, she's my wife. She is my other half. She is literally, like, I left home to be with her. We leave home to be with one another, right? Like, she is everything. My desire in life is to see and to promote her happiness. And so marriage is a beautiful thing. I think the statistics say that something like as the men 40 years and above have a higher chance of staying alive longer, to having your wife there next to you, because she not only protects you from speeding and getting tickets, but she also looks out for your health.
You know the saying, happy wife, happy life?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one you're looking for.
And there you go. Let's go with that.
You live a lot longer if you keep her happy.
Yep. Listen, she's right.
You specifically live a lot longer.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, he cooks, so I mean, at least you'll see it coming.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it. Thank you all so much.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Susy?
No, I think we've said it all, you know.
Okay, so what's your trick to being the wife?
To being the wife?
Because we grow up learning what we see. We grow up, my upbringing, the men went into work and the women did everything else. And if he was happy, great. If he's not, who cares? As long as the kids were handled, the house was handled. That was what we were taught. And I learned real quick how to man bash real fast. And I learned to look for shortcomings real fast. But I also learned in being married to Quincy, that's how it started. And then once we saw those things, something in me shifted to say, no, that's not who he is. That's not how I don't want to make him that way because of me. So I learned my version of being a wife, which is what I teach my children, is there are certain things that we do, and they're little things. It's not like, there's this secret ingredient that we do. But what choice was it that you made? My choice was he goes out to work and I stayed home with the kids, and there were certain things that I noticed make him feel more comfortable when he comes home, or make him feel more cherished when we do things, or there were things that excuse me, I'm sorry.
I need the cough button.
If there's anything that will bring out the ugly in me, you come after my husband or you come after my children, and I'm a completely different human being, and I forget God. That's not even in my vocabulary at this moment. If it is, it's not a good word. But there are things that I do to honor him and to respect him and to defer to him. I hate when people say you need to submit to your husband. It's not a submission like in a UFC fight where you've got to tap out and you just got to let him have what he wants. The image that comes with that word, for me, it was such a trigger because that's what I grew up with, that I had to change how I view it. So now when Quincy and I say, what does that look like? My submission to him is not me giving up and giving him control. It's me deferring to him and saying, okay, this is what we're looking at. What do you think? This is what I think. where do we meet in the middle? Are there some things where I have him take over and it's like, dude, this is your decision and whatever you decide, I'm going to walk it. Whether I like it or not, I'm just going to make the choice to walk it. What was that for you in this? Because obviously with a ministry and the autism and older kids and the different things that you guys have been through, there has to be a moment, I think, in every woman's life where we say, screw everybody else, screw whatever's going to come at me. This is my man. I made this decision. I don't care about anything else. What was it?
I think in the beginning, it didn't start off like that, right? I mean,
I don't think anyone does.
Yeah, I was like 20 years old, super young. I mean, what I remember from my parents being married, yeah, my mom was a stay-at-home wife. You know, she did everything. She cooked, cleaned, took care of us. I don't remember too much of their relationship. I mean, it seemed fine on the outside. I really don't know. But my mom did pass away early when I was 18 years old, so I don't remember too much of that. But I think everything I just took it a day at a time. I know we had our ups and downs, and of course I'm trying to control, to try to save him from his bad decisions. And honestly, it just took one day that it's like, what am I even trying to do? Like, if I actually can control him, like I can't. There's no way. And that's where, like, honestly, faith did come through. And it's like, I quit. Like, I can't even control anything anyway. Like, I'm just going to give it up to God and just pray. I'm going to let him know, what I think or what I feel. But ultimately, like, he's going to have to answer to a higher power, And it's so funny because, like, that one day that he actually did come home, he was expecting me to be super upset, probably throw all his stuff outside, and like I usually do. And I'm just in my room. I'm not even waiting in the living room, and he just comes inside, like, all scared, like, why aren't you, like, beating
the quiet
me up?
wife? That's the worst.
Yes.
It's like, wait, she's
Why aren't you
quiet and she's
beating me
calm.
up? Exactly. And I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I had a conversation with God, so you're just gonna have to take it up with him. And that was, like, honestly, the thing that just woke him up. And he's like, oh snap, like, I actually do have someone that I am accountable to. Like, what? So I think the more that I pretty much study the scriptures, because honestly, like, it's both ways, right? Like, he doesn't carry my relationship with Christ, but in just learning scripture and what he calls of me, it's like he's pretty clear. It's in black and white. Like, you can read it for yourself, and I'm not responsible for him. Like, he has responsibilities that he needs to provide for me, but it doesn't say, okay, well, you love your husband or you respect your husband only until he does A, B, and C. Like, it just says do it. Regardless of what he's doing or not, you have to do it. So that's, like, what always brings me back. Even with ministry, as hard as it is people betraying him and me wanting him to quit, it's like I can't even ask him that because that's his calling. That's what makes him him, So all I could do is just come alongside him and just give him what I can and just look at him sometimes as my brother too and pray for him. And if he's struggling, be the helper and try to help him. And, like, we just want peace. I know I want peace. So things like you were saying, you're pissed off at him, and it's like, it's a choice. Like, okay, I could choose to talk to you about it. I'm giving you an option. You could stop this. You could not stop this. But ultimately, regardless of whatever, I'm still going to respect you. I'm still going to honor you, I'm so, like, happy and thankful that I have never cursed him out, because I mean,
Sorry,
we've seen so many couples that it's like, the F-bomb to each other and, like, just the worst. And that is just something that, like, both of us have, like, never crossed that line, as mad as I have been, as much as I've wanted to, like me biting my tongue, I have stitches in my tongue of how much I, have bit it. Just kidding. But yeah, because once you actually say that, there's no coming back from that. You know what I mean? It's like you can't take it back. You can't change the past, So yeah, honestly, like that's just what keeps me grounded. And regardless of what he does, it's like I'm also accountable to someone else, And I have my kids who we're like living examples to them too.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though you can tell them like, okay, do what I say instead of what I'm doing. No, that doesn't work. Like they're going to do what you do, So
Absolutely.
So yeah, constant prayer too, to give me patience and grace and everything. So yeah. So that's what,
So in all honesty, it's not easy, and it's not just I'm doing what I'm told. It's the choice.
And ultimately making it every time.
The choice to say, you know what, this is what you're doing and I don't like it, and this is what's hurting me, and I'm going to give the decision to you. I'm going to follow you in whatever you do, but you need to know this is what it's doing to me. That is probably the hardest thing for married couples to do, because I want you to do what I want.
Right.
And you want me to do what you want, and one of us has to be right. And being able to just say, right, wrong, or indifferent, this is what's happening, and this is what it's doing to me, and this is what I see it's doing to you. Your choice. I'll follow. That's my choice. But I think when people come to a place where they finally present it and say, this is what's going on, and I'm choosing to go with you, but you're choosing and continuing to hurt me. If you're choosing to change that, I'm still going with you. But what are you going to choose in the middle? And I think that's one of the hardest things. I mean, even teaching our children, that is one of the hardest things to get my kids to understand is you can still be someone's friend if they hurt you, but you need to tell them, this is hurting me. And I'm still going to be your friend, but I need you to know that when you do this, this is what you do to me. And this is how I feel about it. It doesn't mean I love you any less. It means you are consciously now making this decision to hurt me. And I think it's just a whole different perspective. If we all took that approach to look at it and realize all they're asking you to do is acknowledge you did something that hurt. You can change it or not. That's your choice. But now you know, so you're accountable to it. And if you're doing it to me on purpose, now it's my choice of what to do from here.
Right. Yeah, and it's compromise, honestly, with so many things, It's like, okay, well, this is becoming a problem. Like, where can we meet? Like, fine, you can't stop this, but meet me somewhere in the middle. Like, you give some, I give some. Like, we're in this for the long haul. Like, let's make this easy. So yeah, choice, compromise, constantly,
Or murder.
or that's the last one.
No, that's fantastic. I love what you guys have shared with us today. I really appreciate it, and I know it'll be enriching and very valuable for our audience to hear your perspective. They know how to reach out to us. If somebody wants to reach out to you, is there like a base email address, or you just want me to have them
Susy usually handles that. I'm not a social media or any kind of anything fan. She handles a lot of that.
No, he just assaults you in person.
If it was
He
up
just
to
likes
me,
phone calls.
I'll probably put my phone number
I
out
know,
there.
he's getting like
And
a million phone calls.
Don't do that.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, so
Is
that's
there
what happens.
any kind of an email address or something, like a church email or something?
There is our ministry email, which is H like ham, C like cat, M like Mary, FOR youth, YOUTH @gmail. So HCMforyouth@gmail. Yep, that's our email. So definitely, if they want to get in contact with us, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, they
And
know it's .com.
We'll throw it in the in the show notes. I don't think you have to say .com anymore. Just like you don't have to say it's all lowercase. There's no capitals and there's no spaces.
That's why I
It's
don't
like,
do it.
listen, people, we know there's no more capitals. We know there's no space.
There's a www.
Oh man, it's been great. Thank you, John and
Thank
Susie.
you guys
And,
so
thank
much
you,
for having
yeah.
us.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we can do it again. I mean, y'all have so much to share.
Oh yeah.
But I really appreciate it. And if you have nothing else, we'll wrap it up.
All right.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
good. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. I
No?
appreciate you all so much.
Yep.
I just pray blessings upon you, that the Lord will continue to bless this podcast. Everyone who's out there is listening. I pray a blessing upon you, that you can receive this and that God will just fill you with whatever wisdom he gives you. And just pray everybody has a great rest of the year.
Yep. Let's
great.
do it. All right. That's John and Susie. This is
you,
the
thank
Nelson
you.
Studio. Jeannie Moran to my right. You hot, sexy woman. And I am Quincy Moran. And this is Man versus Marriage.
The podcast. How good do you want your life to be?
You gotta live on purpose, for a purpose.
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible. This is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.